I'm back. Rose Rants on Star Wars. If you like that video, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I upload content. So, I go to bed. I'm riding the Mandalorian trailer 2 high. Star Wars is taking a step forward. In the middle of the night, all hell breaks loose. Benioff and Weiss exit their trilogy. Now, I think the writing was on the wall for this after the Netflix deal. I do. I think they grabbed at a chance to get out of this whole situation. And I don't know how people feel about this. I know a lot of people are like, good after season 8 Game of Thrones. I don't know, because if they were adapting Old Republic material, as long as they've got a track record of success, as long as they're adapting from something, it's when they got to do their own thing that you get scared. And they turn into Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber, right? But there's another key factor in this. Kathleen Kennedy hired them. Another failure, whether she's running the show or not, another management production failure from Kathleen Kennedy. She can't run a Burger King at this point. Lord and Miller on Solo, gone. After 84% of the entire movie is shot, she hires Ron Howard, reshoots nearly the whole movie. And I've got a story coming on that about Lawrence Kasdan, because he's pissed about Solo. And not at the fans either. She hires Josh Trank, who is a complete and utter failure as a director. She hired him to begin with, Boba Fett movie. Lord and Miller goes on to win an Oscar for Into the Spider-Verse. I'm not a big Lord and Miller guy. I saw Into the Spider-Verse. I actually didn't love it like everybody else. But again, you hired them to begin with. You hired Benioff and Weiss before you see the end result of Game of Thrones. Here's the big failure. Why are you putting Star Wars movies on the release schedule when you don't have competent people to make the stories? You're worried about fulfilling release dates. That's a problem. Like The Rise of Skywalker. Why did it not get pushed back a year? Or you know what? Push it back to May. Push it back a year. Push it back 2 years to get it right. Okay? I mean, I don't know. They may bring Luke back to life, but that would have been my number one priority, was to have brought Luke back. Maybe this is a passing of the torch Michelle Rejwan call, where she was like, you know what? These guys I'm not too sure about. I didn't hire them. They're gone. Kathleen Kennedy hired Rian Johnson, who has absolutely flamethrowed Star Wars, and the fan base is completely divisive right now. It is a war on Twitter between the fandom menace and these people. I mean, there's people this morning defending Kathleen Kennedy on Twitter. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. Kathleen Kennedy is a failure. Colin Trevorrow gets hired. He advocates to save Luke Skywalker's life in episode 8. He does not want Luke killed. He had some triumphant plan for a finale for episode 9 involving Luke and Leia. An alive Luke. And because of that, she let Trevorrow go. And then you could even question hiring Trevorrow to begin with based on how people feel about Jurassic World. I liked it. A lot of people hated it. I mean, Benioff and Weiss exiting the trilogy, it's a big deal. But the bigger deal is the indictment of Kathleen Kennedy and her hiring decisions to begin with. I don't know. If I am Lucasfilm at this point, unless I plan on letting Kevin Feige adapt alongside George Lucas his treatments for a trilogy to redo the sequel trilogy, I cancel all future Star Wars films. I cancel them. I take them off the release schedule. You have got to quit making release schedules and worrying about meeting them versus making sure you've got a story right. If it takes 4 years to write one movie, that should be okay. Supposedly, they've recouped their investment in for buying the product. I don't think that's the case right now, but it will be after The Mandalorian comes out and that money starts coming in from Disney Plus. Yeah, they'll recoup their investment. Let Favreau and Filoni run this thing. That's what I've been advocating for on here. It's obvious with The Mandalorian, they get it. I mean, this is ridiculous. This looks awful on Lucasfilm for having hired these two to begin with. They picked Netflix over Star Wars. Let us think about that in the current state of Star Wars. They picked Netflix over Star Wars. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.